need to hear this story. In a quiet corner of a sleepy town, there lived an old man named Elias. He was a solitary figure, his days stretching out like a long-forgotten tale. He had weathered the years, his once vibrant hair now silver, and his eyes carrying the weight of experiences that only time could bestow. Elias lived a simple life, sustained by his modest pension and the small vegetable garden he tended to in his yard. Each morning he would venture out with a hunch in his back and a heart full of memories, tending to his beloved garden. The green sprouts and colourful blooms were his companions, offering him solace from the echoing silence that filled his home. The neighbourhood was aware of Elias, though their interactions were sparse. He had never been one for chit-chat or pleasantries, preferring the quiet conversations he held with the rustling leaves and the songbirds that visited his garden. People passed by him with a nod or a soft hello, respectful of the old man's inclination for solitude. Unbeknownst to Elias, he was the subject of discreet observation by the local police. They kept a watchful eye on him, a remnant of a dark incident from years ago that had left a haunting scar on the town's history. A shadow loomed over Elias, but he remained oblivious to the weight of suspicion that hung in the air. One summer's day, as the sun cast its warm embrace over the town, families flocked to a nearby resort for a day of laughter and joy. The sounds of splashing water and delighted children filled the air. But then, as if a nightmare had been woven into reality, chaos erupted. Elias, his mind shrouded in a haze of confusion and turmoil, unleashed a wave of violence upon the unsuspecting crowd. The tranquility shattered as shots echoed through the air, and the resort turned into a scene of unspeakable horror. Elias had become a vessel of unfathomable darkness, a vessel that claimed the lives of innocent souls without discrimination. The tragedy unfolded in an instant, leaving devastation and heartbreak in its wake. But Elias, lost within the maze of his own mind, had no recollection of the atrocities he had committed. The authorities scrambled to contain the situation, but Elias, gripped by his mental affliction, could not be held accountable for his actions. He was deemed unfit for trial, a frail old man trapped in the clutches of his own fractured reality. The police could only watch and wait, hoping that time would claim him before he could pose another threat. Elias continued his existence, his days blending into one another, punctuated by his garden's growth and the whispers that seemed to follow him. The weight of his past misdeeds eluded him, buried beneath layers of confusion and remorse. Then, one fateful day, as the sun began its descent on the horizon, Elias found himself standing before a mirror. His eyes met the reflection that stared back at him, and suddenly a flood of memories crashed upon him like a tidal wave. He saw the faces, the blood, the terror he had wrought upon his innocent souls. Guilt and realization flooded his being. He fell to his knees, his voice quivering as he begged for forgiveness from the specters that haunted his memories. He wept for the lives he had taken, for the families he had shattered, and for the darkness that had consumed him. As the sun dipped below the horizon, Elias's breath grew shallow, his body succumbing to the weight of his remorse. In the fading light, he whispered his plea for forgiveness once more, his words carried away by the gentle evening breeze. And then, with a final exhale, Elias's restless soul found its release, leaving behind a world forever marked by the tragedy he could never fully comprehend.